Hello, everyone. Welcome to the amazing cultural studies discussion. How are you all? How is your preparation going? You should be happy. You should be passionate. You should be optimistic. You should remember Sigmund Freud. Okay, so here is net study plan, day 22. I think I titled the video 23. No problem, I'll change it. Anyway, there is no change on this. It is on cultural studies. Wow, this is a good question. Choose the wrong statement among the following. Cultural studies values working class culture and popular culture. Correct, hai na? It studies the political dynamics of mass media and everyday cultural practices. Is culture studies about mass media and everyday cultural practices? Yeah. Culture studies examine cultural practices in terms of their relation to practical relevance only. Practical relevance only. Culture studies is based on both knowledge as subjective experience, as knowledge as objective and universal. What do you think, Ankita, is the answer?
Option C is wrong because it is not only about practical relevance only.
Oh. Ankita is saying option C is wrong because it's not only about practical relevance, it's about other things also. Very good. That is cool. Ankita, read.
Yes.
Can you read, please?
Okay. Who among the following used the term cultural studies for the first time? Richard Hogarth, Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall, or E.P. Thompson? Who used the term cultural studies for the first time?
So, cultural studies for the first time. Shall we check the answer?
Yes.
It is Richard Hogarth. Tell me, Ankita, what is the famous book by Richard Hogarth?
The Uses of Literacy.
Uses of Literacy, where he talks about working class culture. Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall, E.P. Thompson, they're all associated with the what, Ankita? Which group?
CCCS.
CCCS. Very good. They are associated with CCCS. And where is CCCS, Ankita?
It was at the University of Birmingham.
University of Birmingham. Very good. Who among the following wrote The Poverty of Theory? Poverty of Theory against Louis Althusser's structuralist Marxism, advocating Marxist humanism. Poverty of Theory. Is it Raymond Williams who wrote against Louis Althusser? Is it Stuart Hall? Is it E.P. Thompson or Terry Eagleton? What do you think, YouTubers? YouTubers are all saying correct answers. Wonderful. It is E.P. Thompson. E.P. Thompson wrote The Poverty of Theory. Which is the other famous work by E.P. Thompson, Ankita?
The Making of the English Working Class.
The Making of the English Working Class. Very good. Now, next question. Raymond Williams' Culture and Society was inspired by which work among the following? Raymond Williams was inspired by which work? Is it Richard Hogarth's Uses of Literacy? Is it E.P. Thompson's The Making of the English Working Class? Is it T.S. Eliot's Notes Towards a Definition of Culture? Or none of these? YouTubers, do you know the answer? They are amazing. They are always saying correct answers. Ankita, what do you think?
Yes, the answer is option C. T.S. Eliot's Notes Towards a Definition of Culture.
Yes, it is T.S. Eliot's Notes Towards a Definition of Culture. T.S. Eliot wrote about culture, which is Matthew Arnold's famous book on culture.
Culture and Anarchy.
Culture and Anarchy, correct. Where Matthew Arnold and F.R. Lewis talked about high culture, right? Whereas culture studies talks about everyday culture. Very good. Read, Ankita, please.
Okay. Realism and the contemporary novel, which discusses realism and stresses its history, is a chapter in which work? Culture and Society, The Country and the City, The Long Revolution, or Marxism and Literature? So this is a chapter in which work among the following?
Yes, realism and contemporary novel is prescribed in universities also. It discusses realism and its history. In which work of Raymond Williams? Do you know, guys? YouTubers? Ankita, YouTubers are saying see. They're all saying. Maybe it is correct. What do you think?
The answer is The Long Revolution. C.
It is The Long Revolution. YouTubers, when was The Long Revolution published? They know. I just start culture studies in our paid courses just now. Long Revolution, 1961. Culture and Society, 1958. Okay, very good. Political Shakespeare. Essays in Cultural Materialism. The work which deposed the sacred icon of the eternal bard. Eternal bard means Shakespeare. Shakespeare's iconic status is questioned and argued for a Shakespeare who mediates and exploits political, cultural, and ideological forces, which is the year in which Political Shakespeare is published. It is edited by Jonathan Dollimore and Alan Sinfield. Do you know anyone? Political Shakespeare came in 1985. Jonathan Dollimore had come to Kerala a couple of years ago. Wow. It is a very famous book in cultural materialism. Okay, Ankita, your turn next.
Okay. To choose the wrongly matched pair. Stuart Hall, Encoding and Decoding. Dick Hebdige, Subculture. Pierre Bourdieu, Globalization. And lastly, Paul Virilio, Dromology. So which concept here is not correctly matched with its propounder?
Can I tell you the answer? It is Pierre Bourdieu, globalization. It is Roland Robertson who talked about globalization. Because it's global yet local. Pierre Bourdieu has talked about habitus, field, cultural capital, cultural intermediaries. These are the terms that Pierre Bourdieu has talked about. Stuart Hall talked about encoding, decoding. It's related to communication. Dick Hebdige wrote a book, Subcultures. And Paul Virilio is a man who has talked about contemporary culture in relation to speed and war. Paul Virilio has developed the concept of dromology in relation to this. Very good. Disjuncture and Difference in the Global Cultural Economy is a famous essay by Dash. Is it Stuart Hall, Arjun Appadurai, Roland Robertson, or Raymond Williams? Disjuncture is a characteristic of postmodern culture. Disjuncture and difference in global cultural economy. Do you know, Ankita? Of course you know. Tell us the answer.
It is Arjun Appadurai who wrote this essay.
Yes, Arjun Appadurai. And he also talks about the 5 scapes of postmodern culture. What are the 5 scapes? Mediascape, ideoscape, financescape, technoscape, and
Ethnoscape.
Ethnoscape. Very good. Ethnoscape is when people are moving. Medioscape is when media is shared across the globe. Right? Very good. The concept of structuration was propounded by Dash in the Constitution of the Society, outline of the theory of structuration. Paul Virilio, Anthony Giddens, Anthony Ashley Cooper, and none of the above. Ankita.
Yeah, the answer is Anthony Giddens, who talked
Yes.
about structuration.
Structuration. Anthony Giddens is a very famous theorist of modernity studies. Right. Can you please read the next?
Okay. So Dash was the first institution to offer degrees in popular culture. So which university was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Bowling Green State University, University of Boston, University of Birmingham, or University of Pennsylvania?
The first university to offer a course in popular culture, degree. Popular culture was not considered a very academic subject. Henna, it is, do you know, YouTubers? It is Bowling Green State University. Wonderful question. Wonderful. Well, you should all go there, okay? Now, Dash. Who is this? Such beautiful hair, dekho. In postmodernism and popular culture, she asserts that postmodernism has created a new body of intellectuals and voices from the margins, speaking from positions of difference. Who talked about it? Ankita, is it Andrew Ross, Angela McRobbie, Angela Davis, or Susan Sontag?
It's Angela McRobbie who wrote this book.
Angela McRobbie wrote Postmodernism and Popular Culture. Angela McRobbie is very important, guys. You should look up her other works. Ankita, do you know any other work? There is an essay that is prescribed. I think it's about feminism. Postmodern, something is there about feminism that is prescribed. Please read up. I teach it in feminism also. I can't remember the title. Will you look up, everyone? YouTubers will tell us otherwise. Please look up, okay? Who among the following is associated with trauma theory? Eve Kosofsky Sedgwick, Robert McCreever, Kathy Carruth, Sadie Plant. Eve Kosofsky Sedgwick is gender studies, queer studies, etc. Robert McCreever is crip theory and disability. Sadie Plant is cyber feminism. Kathy Carruth must be the answer. What do you think, Ankita?
Yes, it is Kathy Carruth.
Kathy Carruth. Then Kalital. Trauma studies is important. Dear friends, remember. Aftermath of feminism. What is it? There is another full title. Aftermath of feminism is a book, right? There's an essay. I can't remember the title. I taught 10 hours today. That is why my brain has stopped. Now, crip theory, which studies the ways in which neoliberal capitalism has imagined and composed sexual and embodied identities. Actually, crip theory was also using the concept of compulsory able-bodiedness. In Adrian Rich talked about compulsory heterosexuality, and in crip theory, there is a reference to compulsory able-bodiedness. Who developed it? Kalital, Robert McCreever, Christopher Bell, Christopher Ricks. Ankita?
It is Robert McCreever.
Robert McCreever talked about crip theory, cultural signs of queerness and disability. He's a disability theorist. Okay, very good. Ways of Seeing is one of the most stimulating and most influential books on art by an author who is also a novelist. Is it Laura Mulvey, John Berger, Nicholas Mirzoff, or Lisa Cartwright? YouTubers, I know they will tell us the answer. Ankita, tell us.
It is John Berger who wrote Ways of Seeing.
Yeah. Ankita, do you know this? A very famous novel that won Booker Prize has an epigraph taken from John Berger's Ways of Seeing. Which is that novel?
I think I just studied about it a few days back.
Famous novel. All of us know.
Yeah.
God of Small Things.
Yeah, The God of Small Things. Yes.
No, God of Small Things takes a title, takes an epigraph, a
Yes.
line from Ways of Seeing.
Yes.
And also, John Berger wrote novel G.
Hmm.
Right. I think that also won Booker Prize, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Who among the following is known as the highest priest of pop culture? Father of the electronic age. Yes, YouTubers, I know, I can see your answers. Wonderful. Tell us, who among the following is the high priest of pop culture? Father of the electronic age. Oh, Tanu Ghosh is telling us, Angela McRobbie wrote Settling Accounts with Subculture, a Feminist Critique. That is not the essay that I meant, though. But that is also a very important point she has told us. Yes. Got it, Tanu. Thank you. This answer is Marshall McLuhan, high priest of pop culture and father of the electronic age. Ankita, do you remember any terms used by Marshall McLuhan?
Yeah, he talked about the global village, then the medium is the message. Yeah.
Right. Understanding Media is his famous book.
Then Gutenberg Galaxy is there.
Aftermath of Feminism is a book. I'm talking about an essay. Shweta. Okay. Who claims in Media Matters that all events that matter are media events? Is it Stuart Hall, Marshall McLuhan, John Fisk, or Quentin Fiore? Ankita, what do you think?
It is John Fisk. He was he was associated with television studies, and he said that all events which matter are media events.
Yeah. It is John Fisk, television studies. Actually, the essay that I couldn't remember has a silly title: Post-Feminism and Popular Culture. It's not a big deal. Post-Feminism and Popular Culture. Now, Backlash, The Undeclared War Against American Women, is a book by Dash, in which the author presents evidence demonstrating the existence of a media-driven backlash. That means feminism is defeated by the media and society. Who wrote about backlash as a part of post-feminism? Is it Susan Faludi, Judith Butler, Julia Kristeva, Judith Halberstam? Gita?
Susan Faludi, who wrote Backlash.
Susan Faludi is the author of Backlash, part of post-feminism. Can you please read the next?
VNX Matrix, an Australian artist collective, had painted Dash for the 21st century in 1991. So what had they written? Is it the Futurist Manifesto, the Cyber Feminist Manifesto, the Surrealist Manifesto, or the Subculture Manifesto?
Yeah, I know. It is the Cyber Feminist Manifesto. And Ankita, it is read Venus Matrix. VENUS.
Okay.
It is called Venus Matrix. VNX Matrix is how you write it. Cyber Feminist Manifesto. All right. Who among the following has coined the term queer studies? Teresa de Lauretis, Adrienne Rich, Diana Fuss, Judith Butler. Everybody would know that, won't you? Wouldn't everyone? It is Teresa de Lauretis. Ankita, your turn.
The production of space, the work which attempts to reconcile mental and physical space, is by Dash. Pierre Bourdieu, Henry Lefebvre, Tony Bennett, Edward Soya. Who wrote the production of space?
Edward Soya was influenced by this man. It is Andre Lefebvre. Tony Bennett wrote about museum studies. Tony Bennett wrote about museum studies. Space theory, mainly associated with Andre Lefebvre and Edward Soya. Okay. Stuart Hall became the director of CCC as in Dash. 1970, 72, 74, 76. Do you know anybody? What do you think, Ankita, is the answer?
It's 1974.
1974. Stuart Hall became the director of the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. Can you please read, Ankita?
Paul Duguay and Stuart Hall and others introduced the theory of dash in a study of the Sony Walkman cassette player. So, which theory had they introduced here? Is it circuit of culture, encoding and decoding, or model of communication, or none of the above?
It is circuit of culture. Circuit of culture means culture is about production, consumption, regulation, representation, and identity. When you think of anything in culture, a product or a service or an advertisement or food or anything, it involves production. Who produces it? Who consumes it? Who regulates all this? What does it represent and how does it relate to identity? Circuit of culture, Paul Duguay, Stuart Hall, et al. Right. So that is our short and sweet set of questions on culture studies. I hope you have benefited from it. I had given the PDF of 5 tests or something in Telegram group. I will give you more also. Please use them. All right. And study, enjoy, love what we are studying, and pass this exam. Have great careers ahead. Right. All right. So Ankita and me are signing off for now.